I've got a sore tooth, so start me. Don't mess with a woman who's waiting for oral surgery.
I think that's my default setting.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, she's always got toothache.
Surprise.
She's always got toothache.
Storm, just looking through the agenda.
Yeah.
Give you a heads up because that's road naming paper.
Yeah.
I think that shouldn't be here. Because that property is in the Gracian ward
Yeah, I wondered that.
and we experienced that in the last triennium.
I wondered that.
Okay, well, I'll let you bring that
Street naming.
in stage because we may just.
I know what
We may talk about the defaulted because.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, I've got even.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome, community board members, staff, members of public. Would anybody like to do the karakia?
Karakia,
Karakia,
where are we?
She's nodding. She can hear us.
I can do that, sorry.
thank you. We bow to your superior knowledge on these things.
Tukua te wairua kia rere ki ngā taumata. Hai arahi ia tātou mahi. Me tātou hoki, me tā tātou whai. Inga tikanga ara taumā. Kia mau, kia ita. Kia kore ai e ngaro. Kia pupuri. Kia whakamaua. Kia tina. Tina. Hui e taiki.
Thank you. Now, just a few health and safety briefings. Should an emergency occur, the emergency exit is fairly labelled. Please evacuate and go into the assembly area, which is the Texas Street side, and wait for further instructions. Now, the meeting is being live streamed to Council YouTube channel. It's also being recorded, and that would be on YouTube subject to clarity. I don't believe there's any extraordinary business, if I'm mistaken. No. We have apologies. I have apology from Mel. She's still unwell, and I've accepted her apology for that. No problems. Told her to get well. Any other apologies? No, so we can move on to that.
You'll just need us.
Just going to move that we apologies received from Mel Maynard. Give us a second.
Yeah.
Second it. Receive it. Okay. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against? No. Okay. Do we have a conflict of interest? I think we may have.
Yes, I have a conflict with the first presentation and application for funds.
Okay. So what we'll ask you to do is, by all means, you can stay within the meeting, but please do not add commentary.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay. Do we have any acknowledgement?
Excuse me, Storm. Although there is a conflict, if you wanted to, if there was anything that you felt we needed to know to make a decision or anything, I think you're able to do that, but you can't vote when you have a conflict.
And understand that, and if Martin needs assistance, he can certainly call on Karen to do so.
Thank you.
But the intention is for Karen not to say at this stage. Okay. So do we have any acknowledgements or tributes? Is that a no? I'll take that as a no. Community board meeting notes from the last meeting.
Sorry, Storm, I keep putting myself on mute and then I can't get off it fast enough. But I just wanted to congratulate Charlotte Harding and for the Matariki events and that the Martinborough Community Board were able to help with at Considine Park with the glow walk. It was very successful. And I just wanted to actually, in that acknowledgement, I wanted to acknowledge the hard work that was done by all those that helped to make that possible. So, kia ora.
Thank you.
It sounded like she backed at us.
Okay, so now we go to moving on to the community board minutes of the last meeting.
Yep.
There was no discussion. It is, do we have any corrections? Have no corrections. I would like to have somebody move that we accept the minutes of the last meeting.
Yep.
Held on the 5th of June, 2023.
I'll move.
Angela?
Yep.
Second it. Karen, thank you.
Or Alan can.
All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Okay, now I just wonder, Katie, whether we should get Martin up.
Yeah, that's it.
So Martin,
Right.
not paying attention. Martin,
It's a big moment.
the stage is yours. You nearly lost it.
I'm just carrying some mouthpiece.
Oh, yeah, Martin.
Okay, so just to give a backdrop to this, Martin is presenting on behalf of the tree committee, was it tree group?
The tree group,
Tree group,
Edgeling.
and they do have a request for funding. And this is to give us some background as to their work. Right,
So kia ora, Community Board, thank you for hearing me on behalf of the tree group. To talk about a proposal for a community planting, which I hope will resonate with you guys as our community board and community leaders, this project. We're a small, unincorporated, obviously, tree group, Karen and I and a couple of others. So we want to advance a proposal, and we'll do much of the mahi in terms of organising and publicising. So I did a little 4-page note. I hope you've all had a chance to have a look at. Even got pictures in it. Where do I start? So a bit on me. I've been permanent resident in Martinborough for 10 years. Bought my beautiful hectare on the fringe of town 24 years ago. Planted a lot of trees. So I am a tree man, and I want to see Martinborough have more native tree planting. Actually, this started for me 4 years ago, without deviating too much, when I learned that the previous council and the previous CEO were intending to cut down the totara tree on the outside on the Waihinga Centre grounds there next to the skate park, and it was me. Others told me about it. I went to see Harry, and he said, "Yeah, we're having to consider it because it's a safety risk for the kids on the park and so forth, and tree pruning or root pruning isn't going to work, and so on and so forth, health and safety." So I penned an open letter to the council on behalf of the community, which 90 people signed. I've got the signatures and the background of the paperwork here. Hopefully it's still in the council files. And come the following Monday, we presented this to the CEO and got his undertaking that nothing would be done with that tree. That's 4 years ago. The tree is still out there thriving. It's one of the few large natives in our beautiful treed town. So I hope nothing ever happens to that. I'll be very hot under the collar if something does. And in fact, I've got the signatures and the names and the addresses of 90 people who feel the same way. So that tells me this town has an appetite for, it has an appetite for trees, but also natives in the current age, Indigenous, biodiverse, tree attracting native trees, what New Zealand needs, So this is a proposal and also a funding application. And I've couched that little paper, if you had a chance to look at it, the plan. And the plan is boldly assuming that the community board will want to get behind it and give us some funding at some level. So to go back to the beginning, and if you've looked at this, or I've got some photographs, some aerial stuff I can hand around. This is a corner of the golf course, which is publicly owned and leased to the golf club. The corner of Cods Road and Hinakura Road. 2 years ago, the biodiversity group, I should say so we are the tree group. I'm me, but I have affiliations. One of them is to the South Wairarapa Biodiversity Group, which I'm a member of, and was one of the key instigators with Bryce Neems, I have to say, of the planting that was done on the corner there 2 years ago, the winter 2 years ago. So there's that, and I'm also affiliated to Podamaikai o Taira, which is the community group in Featherston, which has created the new, not so new now, native plant nursery, eco-sourced plants at the old Featherston Golf Club. So, and I'm going to mention that again in a minute, basically. So, okay, so that's the kind of part of my network. And so the idea that we want to kind of advance and get community board to endorse, support. In fact, I'd love you guys to pick it up and lead it. And people like me will be right behind you and doing all the work. If you guys figurehead and lead this for us, you can consider that. So if you quickly look through this, the idea is to to expand the bit of planting that's been done in 2000. I hope Pip's had a chance to see this as well. And expand it with some community planting days. The golf club is right behind this. Karen and I had an email in recent days. I've had several meetings with the club president and somebody on the club committee who's been delegated to kind of liaise with us. I have to say, and they're quite open about this, they kind of think it's quite good that they're going to be planting trees, given recent history on the golf club and so on. So they're quite awake to the kind of maybe a bit of sensitivity. So this is good timing. This bit of patch here, I have to say, is on one of the approach roads to Martinborough. So the plan is, the scheme is going to be to take down some of the Douglas firs. The wattles that were already down are going to be chopped up to create, there's an existing traffic issue with visibility on that corner. The club is onto it. The wattle trees have come down. And that is now part of the kind of scheme we've got going with them to extend the current planting, make it much more dense and create within 5 to 10 years, a totally self-sustaining native, densely planted natives patch with kahikatea and totara in the middle of it and a cluster of, and I've listed them there, lower native trees, harakiki, flax, decoca and other smaller varieties around them. So yeah, I don't know if you've had a chance, I won't go through it, but been to both Potomakai and actually Norfolk Road Nursery and sourced plants at good prices and built up a bit of a budget. I've got good advice that those varieties, those species will work well here. The golf club has undertaken to, as I say, help clean up the site, provide water in the summer, as they've done already with some of with the planting that we started in 2021, and also heaps of mulch. So the first thing we'd do is lather the whole area that we've now got earmarked with mulch, and then we'd plant into that in a very organised fashion. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place, but the other thing we want to do here is create a track through here so that this becomes a place that the public can walk through without encroaching on the playing areas of the golf course.
What's the walking path going to be? Limestone or something?
Oh, it could be, yeah. In fact, the club guy, the greenkeeper, head greenkeeper was saying, oh, I can help with it, I've got the kit to make it. So that's probably not part of the funding that I'm talking about here. It's a little bit down the track, although we'd plant with a plan so that you could enter it from Todd's Road, walk through, maybe a bit of seat in there. I've got a feeling that if we get this off the ground over the years ahead, we could extend this whole native patch right down the length of Todd's Road, several hundred metres, the entrance of the golf club.
Just going off the track a wee bit.
Yeah.
Could the pathway be a cycle passage for people visiting wineries?
That would have to be part of a bigger thing, basically. It's not really.
The only reason I'm throwing it out there is because we're trying to get the cyclists off the main roads. That would be a main road getting off. It may not be the best road. I'm just saying is it an opportunity that we could look at to make the pathway a more multi-purpose. But if it's not designed for that, it's fine. I'm just asking a question.
The answer is probably not without designing a whole cycleway path system. There is one down Oxford Street. I think there's a line chip there was done some years ago. Whether it's used much for cyclists or anybody else, I don't know. But hey, something like that would be fantastic, wouldn't it, in the years, decades?
It's a side issue question.
Yeah, no. I mean, it certainly could be a place that people could meander through. If we do it properly with really good planting and the right kind of trees and create a space. Maybe with the seat and so forth in there, it becomes a bit of a destination. I walk down there from, it's 1 kilometre from my place. It's a destination, back again sort of thing. Walking on Todd's Road's not great because there's no footpath and there's not much traffic either. But yeah, so anyway, I mean, the kind of amenity value is, wouldn't it be nice to have a really nice native planting on this approach road to Martinborough? And to my knowledge, Considine Park has come along quite nicely. There's some great planting in there, but this community hasn't yet done any solid native plant. I'm aware that Featherston has, Greytown has. So yeah, it's just an opportunity, and it's public land, so everybody can enjoy it. The golf club is keen because they see benefit to them, and as I just mentioned before, they're thinking, yeah, trees, we've got to re-establish our tree credentials and so on. And in doing this literally community, and I think that's a cliche, but it's also, wouldn't it be great to have 2 or 3 days where all comers invited, come along, bring your gumboots, do some planting, and there's going to be a core of us who obviously have to weed it and nurture it and maybe spray
So
it.
that was the other question I had.
Yeah. So it's one thing to put trees in the ground, but you've got to look after them. And again, we're at a point in time where the golf club, and I had a meeting the other day with Michael, the head grain. Yeah, we will water it for you. We will do this, that, and the other thing. So it's just waiting there. I kind of priced these plants out maybe $2,000, $1,000 from the Potamaikai nursery. It's a community project, not for profit. Thousands of hours have gone into developing that. Wouldn't be nice, and a little bit of a sense for Martinborough to kind of throw its weight behind that as a plant nursery, in respect of which they've invited Karen and I and anybody who wants to come to an open day at the nursery on the 19th of August. And I'll let you, regardless of what you do with this, I will let you guys know about this. It'd be great if we go over there. In fact, local councillors as well. I mean, obviously the Featherston people know all about it. It's not somewhere you just rock up to, so it's invitation only. It's not a marae, but they will be whakatā for us. And if you want someone to speak, I'll speak on behalf, because I know them. I'm a sort of an adjunct member, and I help them with some of their publicity and fund seeking and so forth. So it's great to see what they've done there is really impressive. And I think when we all see it, we'll kind of think, wow, this is amazing. So that's that side of it. But here we are. Here's a bit of land, some work. Oh, I should say that the planting that was done in 2021 is coming along quite well. I don't know if anybody's, Karen's seen it. Yeah. So it needs tending, a bit more tending. And in fact, I want to thicken this up. And that's quite consistent with the original purpose there as well. So it does show that things grow there well. And yeah, it's just scratching the itch, wanting to plant more native trees and seeing if we can't get the Martinborough community together around something as neat as this, really.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to have a comment?
I've just quick, a couple of seconds. When they planted those plants, they got the school children involved, didn't they?
Yep.
So they had the school kids, so that would be.
Absolutely, yeah.
Children. Where would you see the entrance being? Just because we are on a busy road on that corner.
It is an issue, you're right. There is an entrance onto the golf course through a gate, but probably a bit further along towards the corner. So Karen and I are going to get up there and sort of map out, but off Todd's Road and probably looping back onto Todd's Road rather than emptying out onto, as long as we are away from the 11th fairway, which we are quite some distance. Yeah, so yeah, it's not really probably going to be a huge destination, but it's the beginning of something. And as I say, I don't think the golf club would have any issue if we succeed with this. I don't know if you guys know all that, all along Todd's Road there, they have planted some totara trees, 50 of them, I've counted them, and they need infilling at some point in time. But let's just see if we can't make this corner a real feature and clean it up for one thing. It's scruffy. Yeah. Is that? Sorry, I'm
No, that's
feeling quite passionate about this.
Sounds like a great project to carry on.
I was going to say.
From the work that's been done earlier.
Yeah.
Been around, because I know I think 2019, 2020, the golf club had the forestry contractors in there cutting a whole heap of pine trees out and receiving the profits for them, even though it was council land. And I know there was discussions between the council and the golf club at the time about the trees and, well, 'cause I think the council had been receiving carbon credits for these trees. So
Yeah,
certainly the,
PR for them.
yeah, so certainly it's great to see that they're on board with,
Yeah, they are.
project Martin. It's great.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Yes, please. Am I able to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've lost you guys. I can't see you at all. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Martin, for bringing that through to the community board. Firstly, I'm sorry I can't see you.
The camera's dropped. I think.
Videos dropped, but really appreciate it. And just for history's sake, Princess Niniwa actually had gifted, there used to be flex plantings all the way along Hinakura Road, right through there. So she gifted all the flex. So there was, so it was big. It was very impressive. And I think I'm assuming a lot of them were cut down because of visibility issues once the actual road started being put through on there. But to me, a lot of the native plantings, we know that the ground's good for it because that's what the livelihood was, having that here. So yeah, any kind of harakeke would be amazing. And also Kohunui Marae also have a nursery.
Yeah.
And so because they are in our ward as well, it would be, I think that they are in the Martinborough ward, and they may have some plants there as well. So that they may like to include, just to make sure that that it's quite inclusive with the local, I guess with the Martinborough nursery as well as Paitimokai nursery. I'd love to support both them and be when it comes to the district. So but I do think that Kohunui needs to perhaps just to talk to them about it, because having their support on there with some of their natives, they may just have a few others. That's all that you may want to add.
Very good point. Thank you. I don't have any contacts there, but I can reach out, or somebody can.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. Inclusive is the word.
And Narita or Karen Nakaira, it's like either of them from Paitimokai. I'm not sure whether or not they got some of their plantings anyway from Kohunui Nursery as well. So it's
no, they didn't. But yeah.
Yeah. So they have but they work together a lot along a lot of the wetlands.
Yeah.
So there's there would be a good opportunity to actually look at that when it came to the native plantings as well. And I mean, I think as far as an entranceway, the only thing I'd be worried about is the massive ditches. So to actually be building an entranceway into there may be a little bit of an issue, but there's no such thing as not being able to do it. It's just all things like that take a little bit of time. But we have the beautification fund for the Martinborough Community Board that I actually see this sitting. So not just our grant funding. There is actually an opportunity to look at our beautification fund as well. So I really appreciate you bringing this to the table, Martin. I hope I've helped to add a little bit more input into there as well.
Oh, there's a conversation which we had, and perhaps you and I have it, about the history, because that's the piece, part of the piece we're missing, and want to put back the trees and species that were there, prior to clearance and so forth. And I've relied on Karen Nakaira for the planting scheme so far a lot, and so that's the thing a little bit, is getting clustering plants in the right way and giving them a really good start. So great, yeah, thanks. But
welcome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, I'll leave it with you, but yeah,
Thank you, Martin. Look,
you.
it sounds like a very good scheme. I don't think I have too much trouble convincing.
Just one thing, we are coming up to planting season. And I think there is a timeliness about this year. And so September, October really is our opportunity to plant before summer dry and so forth. So, and Karen, Kyra and Nerida have got the their plants lined up for us. So, you know, it'd be good to move sooner rather than later, you know, blah, blah. Okay. So thanks for your time, guys. Thanks,
Thank you.
Very good to see you again, Martin.
guys. Yeah.
Thanks
Yes.
for coming in. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay,
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
thank you. So now I'd like to move to receive the chairman's report. We have a mover. Thank you, Aidan. Second it. Angela,
Yep.
thank you. So if I speak to this report, the first item on the agenda of the report is the Payne Farm ongoing process. Now, I think everybody's familiar, but may not have received documentation, but we have submitted a request to talk to council about the background of Payne Farm and what's happened. And we've presented them with a document that was delivered in 2019 by the previous Martinborough Community Board. And that had a lot of referenced items in it. 38 pages, we appreciate it's pretty big to read. So I have done a reference document to that of 2 pages, which highlights key matters. And if they wish, they can just read the highlights or they can go back into the document. And the third section of what we're presenting is a request of what we would like to see as action items going forward. Now, we don't want to get into conflict with the council executive. That's not our intent. But this has been a problem that's been outstanding for some time, without any real clarification and organisational change to make things happen. One of the things that really concerns us is it's a bequest to the people of Martinborough, and particularly the children in the sporting fraternity, that this should be respected for what it is. And maybe perhaps it hasn't been respected for what it is, for whatever reason. I'm not going to go into the reasons. But we would like to think that it gets treated with a little more intent, and as what we'd like to see is a much more readily available update of activities around what's happening on Payne Farm. So we came on board when we started this, looking at Payne Farm and coming to the conclusion that we could not satisfactorily determine for ourselves the status of the finances. So this is one we want to wish to clear up and have a much clearer vision going forward. So I invite anybody who would like to make extra comments, but we will be presenting to the council at the next meeting. We have got those 3 documents delivered to everybody as part of the council process and meeting process. But we're there to present that we would like to see a clarification and a way forward developed and adhered to. You have any other comment that people would like to make? I know, Karen, you've had a lot of background work on it.
Well, the thing that we really want to present, I think, to the elected members, to the councillors, the mayor, and the mayor, is that we need some action taken on the quantum of the overhead issue.
That's one of the.
I mean, there's a whole lot of other things going on, but I think we can work with the executive on the management, the other management issues. The tricky one is getting action on the extra money that was taken 3 years ago.
Yep.
And I think that needs the elected members to direct the administration to say they've made commitments to do that in writing several times. One actually says not only that they'd look at it, but they'd consider refunding some of it. But we want action on that, and I think it's going to take the elected members to push that action when it comes to getting better information, better record keeping, all that sort of administrative housekeeping sort of stuff. I think we can deal with the administration directly on that.
Look, that's one of the outcomes we're seeking, that we don't expect the meeting presentation to the council to make the solutions. We do want to see it opens the door for dialogue.
No, but they need to direct the administration.
They need to
act
direct the dialogue.
on that extra money, because we do not believe that's fair and reasonable.
And look, we agree with that, and that would be in the dialogue we have.
And it's been recorded that
Understand.
they've undertaken to do that.
Yeah.
So it's not as if we're asking for a new undertaking, we're just asking that that actually happen.
And that would be part of the dialogue we'd have with.
So
Oh,
can I,
totally.
sorry, can I ask, when it gets taken to the council table, and Pip and Aidan, you probably can answer this, you're not allowed to talk. So how, can talk, yeah, cool. So when it gets taken to the council table, how is it presented so that there is an action from what's?
We're speaking to the council.
But we want.
Yes, so you speak to the council and say this, then how do you?
So put forward recommendations.
Okay.
So put
So-
forward recommend, I know exactly where you're
You know what
going.
I'm trying to say, don't you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so when you present, you say that, you know, that you have, if there's, and it looks like there could be, is this right, Storm? There's a few things that you're presenting on, not just Payne Farm. So what you want to do is when you present on Payne Farm, have a recommendation of what outcome you'd like to see from that. Yeah, and that the Martinborough Community Board recommends So
where it says on the piece of paper, the Martinborough Community Board requests that the council instruct the officers to now honour, is that should be quoted as a recommendation? Not a
recommends the council.
yeah, is that the wording that we have to use? I just want to make
No,
sure.
no. So you put through, Katie can probably explain a little bit better. It's you have recommendations like in the chair report, and he recommends that the community board So you do the same. So you'd say that the Martinborough Community Board recommends that the council a look at reimbursing Payne Farm, you know, for past payments that have not been received, or you know, and then number two, this for Payne Farm, or and that way you can make it very, very clear.
Yeah.
So what your recommendations are, and you can speak to give some background on each of those things as well.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Yeah.
Okay, now just an explanation. Katie, you can provide us with the current finances that we've signed up.
So the finances are in the agenda.
Q4.
So those haven't been audited yet, so they're not.
So we haven't got the current finances.
Were they sent out in email form, Katie?
That's
Given-
Q3.
It was from last month, I believe.
Yes.
One's from the 31st of,
We've got Q3, we haven't got Q4.
so the fourth quarter haven't been audited yet. But they'll be available as soon as that's done. So shortly, I would assume. They just weren't ready for this agenda.
So it doesn't really tell us anything that we weren't told last.
No, all we've, I was going to say, all we've got is prospective statement of special and separate funds for the year ended 30th of June 2023. So it's a prospective statement which says Payne Farm should have a closing balance of $167,000, which is quite different to what we're expecting in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's the prospective statement, which is the draft before it gets moved around, has got an opening balance of 144, which we knew, transfers in of 23, but no transfers out. So it's obviously going to be much less than 167. And that's from the, I got that off that one.
That's quite different.
That's quite different, yeah.
Do we know, is there any statement in there about the transfer station funding?
In the minutes, these are comments.
I know there's a minute, but has it been paid to the Payne Farm?
Store, just before. I wouldn't even find it. There was a comment. On the bottom. income on the bottom of
On the current one we've got.
6 of 6. Or page 9.3, CB, I and E report. Report, 27 July. So at the bottom of page 6, it states that the income from the landfill lease will be included in Q4 report.
Yeah.
For the prior year adjustments.
So what we're saying is that 167 will contain.
Aidan, what page is that? Sorry,
It's not in this report.
It's on Stella. If you can go on to Stella. For the agenda, so section 9.3
yeah,
of the
and
I&E and page 6 of 6. So right down at the bottom, it's got total funds available 85,609.77 cents, and then these 4 notes there.
We've
The
got,
last note states income from the landfill lease will be included in the Q4 report for the prior year adjustments.
That's on the agenda.
prior year adjustment.
So I think when you have the discussion next week at the council meeting, I think it'd be good to bring in the fact that there was that earlier workshop earlier this year in February or March,
No,
with which Stefan and Caron attended.
Yep, Karen.
Yeah, we've been all through that. It didn't really advance us.
But
No, but-
no, I think it did advance the information, because at that workshop, there was a significant amount more information supplied than what the previous community board had ever received. So that was a step up and a step forward. And now I think with presenting to council next week, I think you presenting to council next week is the next step from that workshop that occurred, with that and the information that was supplied and the things that were discussed. Because at that workshop, Stefan did say that he would review the charges, and although he was loath to, he was finding it difficult to suggest that because it was going to remove money from his budget.
Yeah.
So certainly there has been a lot happen in council space from that workshop to now, but by bringing it to the council table, it's certainly a good step and a good way to continue the discussion forward.
The thing I don't quite understand is, I guess we can't see the Q4 stats,
no, so you can't.
but you're saying it's 167.
That's, no, this is what in their drafts, what it's saying is the closing balance will be 160.
We'd assume based on
We'll get the income.
based on the comment made.
Current on, yeah,
It should appear in page 4, so we
assuming that,
should be assuming it's in there.
So we've got insurance not included, and we're going to have the landfill link. So that will add up to the
167.
I mean,
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm trying to be patient. I don't know why it takes so long.
we're definitely trying to get clarity on that one because it's been a sticking point for some time now. So just the format of what we do to council, can we be present as the board, or do we have to have just a nominated? We can all be present, but somebody's just got to speak, is that right?
The chair always has a seat at a council meeting. That's right, isn't it? The chair of the community board. Is that correct, Pip?
We have a seat, but no voting.
No, absolutely. And there's actually, and I don't know why it's not there. On all previous agendas prior to new council, there was also a slot where community. So when we received the community board minutes, there was a slot there for each of the community board chairs to speak, but it's not actually stated on the agenda anymore. That is actually the time. And absolutely, if every single chair came, they would all be able to speak to their minutes.
At every meeting, at every council meeting.
yeah,
Well, not at every, like not at an extraordinary meeting or something, but you know, every one that we have every 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, fine.
So have we drawn to a conclusion our discussion on Payne Farm at the moment?
Yep. I think,
So we will present to the next council meeting. Are you intending to present? Storm?
Well, I think we will collectively get
Can we
together.
have another little huddle first?
Yes.
It's about a week away, isn't it?
It's about a week away, 15th, I think.
Wednesday next week.
8th, no, it's 8th. So we'll have our usual huddle and work out a commentary.
Cool.
Second,
Okay, I hope you get that.
thank you very much.
Okay.
2nd of August,
Second week.
Wednesday next week
I know, yeah, I knew it was Wednesday, I just got that.
at 10 a.m.
You know,
They have lazy people meetings.
So
Through the day.
2 weeks away, isn't it? Isn't it the 8th?
No, it's next Wednesday,
second.
Wednesday, the 2nd of August.
Sorry, the 2nd, sorry, I'm a week out. I'm having a mare tonight.
Go out the room and come back again.
Been around 3 times. And
Yeah, I've got the second. So that's-
Dry my hair one more time,
Okay, so we'll call a conclusion to that.
Yep.
Component of it. The other thing was, and I think you may not have the right preparation here, but Nikki had our annual plan
Yeah,
summarised. We're going to vote on the completion of that. Are we happy with what we've got?
I think so.
Okay, so can we take it?
I am all in there.
And
Yeah, we need to go.
we just need to go over a vote. Everybody happy with the plan? Have everybody seen the plan?
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen it?
You seen it, Pip?
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Can't remember when it was sent around, but it's been sent around, hasn't it?
It's been round and round.
It's been round, yeah.
You seen it, Cody?
Yeah, I don't know, when was the last one sent? The
Um,
most recent?
It was sent in June, I think. I copied you.
Is that a mail?
Is it here, it's not in the agenda pack, it's like something.
It's not in the
It's
pack.
not the agenda.
I don't know why, because it was.
There's
supposed
nothing for us to reference to as like the draft copy, so we're not actually approving
There
this
is
at this meeting.
There is a draft copy that Nikki sent out.
It's not attached to
It's not
this
attached to
meeting
it.
though,
No, it's not attached to this meeting, no.
so we can't approve it, it needs to come to the meeting as the draft that we
We
then
do.
approve as our annual plan.
But we did it at the last meeting.
So it was in the last meeting, the annual plan,
Yes,
but
yes,
and
yes.
since
The only
then-
thing was that Nikki was doing a couple of small adjustments. So we'd approved the draft. So that was what, so we approved it. Now we've seen the updated version. Everybody should be happy with that.
yeah,
Am I right in assuming that?
hang on, I'm just trying to find it. When was that sent?
Nikki sent it out on the 27th of June. If you like, I can send you a copy now.
I should have it here. I'm just, sorry, bear with, I'm just. Yeah, please, just flick it through to me so I can make sure it's the one I read.
Yeah.
So this was sent on the 27th of June,
Yes,
after the last meeting, okay.
after the last meeting, yep.
Yeah.
So
I'm
we
pretty,
agreed.
I'm pretty sure I have, I just can't, I'm flicking through and I've got so much blinking.
Not supposed to remember every document you see, but we understand
Well,
that.
luckily, look, I only get about one a week, no.
You
27,
mean 100 a week?
yeah, I know. I was being facetious.
Okay, so look, we're gonna accept the vote that we
Oh.
approve that. And I guess the only thing we do is wait for Nikki to just load it.
Oh, so it's the plan. It's the plan for the community board plan, you mean?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a very simplistic plan.
That's,
Yeah, we didn't go into too much detail.
not planning 100
Okay,
years.
so we're just confirming the vote to have it loaded.
Yep.
Happy with what it is, and Nikki should be taking care of that when she gets back.
Awesome.
Happy with
Yeah,
that?
no, it was the one I thought.
Yeah,
Okay, very good. So the next item is 2 meetings ago, we had discussions, was it the last meeting, that Amanda was going to come to present to us on the advising the values and tasks in the APs and long-term plans.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing we're waiting on for this, that's why it's raised again, is that we haven't heard back, giving us the time. We understand there's probably restraints and pressures on everybody, but we haven't had that presentation, whatever it's going to be in the form of a workshop or just a closed meeting, just so we can go and review what we're doing with the annual plan before it gets underway. So I don't propose any further action there. It's just that maybe you'd want to understand it.
That's for the long-term plan. Yeah.
So we have now dealt with the item 4, which is to receive the presentation from the tree group. And we'll discuss later what our plans were for funding. Is everybody happy with that?
Yep.
Karen?
Yep.
So then, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that there is a time constraint to buy these trees.
Look, and we understand that. And the only thing holding us back is getting to make sure we have the money there to do it now. Where we get the beautification, is that open yet?
Beautification's okay to you.
Yeah, so we could use some of that funding straight away.
Yeah.
We can make a decision on that pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's quite different. Yeah.
Because
Okay.
if we lose spring, we have to wait till next year.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
money comes once a year.
So the next item on there is the speed review consultation document we've submitted. Did everybody see that? I know it's another document you've got to read. It was a very simplistic version. What we tried to say in that document was there should be consistency in the township about speeds, so that it doesn't confuse people. And we need to look at also, when we're creating speeds, some of the long-term planning we've got and how that's going to impact on the speed regions they're setting. So we don't want to be creating something now that we're going to change in the next few months, weeks, years, whatever it may be. So we just need to be aware of the much bigger picture. But I guess we'll bring that up to date when we do present to the review committee, so that the process is closed now. We're just waiting for the review committee to assess the applications, and
There was over, I think, 400 or 500 submissions
400.
went in, and well over 200 for the South Wairarapa. Was good. And I think Tim Lammy said yesterday, that they're taking a while to go through and collate all those submissions.
Yeah.
And work out who's for and who's against. And then people who wish to speak verbally to their submissions will be invited to a hearings committee type situation.
Okay. Because there is a lot of interest in that, from what I've gathered talking to the community. A lot of interest in the speed review. And maybe that we need to say to the people doing the review that they need to be ears open. What's been suggested.
Yeah. And also that issue with the map as well. You know, the maps were really poor quality. And I asked if they could supply us with a better one, so we could display it maybe in the Wahinga or somewhere, because people were asking which roads, and they said they couldn't do it because Carstens had already finished their speed review, which I didn't really understand why it affected the Martinborough maps, but hey. Yeah, so it would have been good to actually have had really good maps.
Yeah. Is there any reason why we haven't got decent street maps of Martin?
They're all online.
I was going to say, you do it with Google Maps.
I use it all the time, and what I do.
Yeah, but to see the overview of the whole thing.
You can zoom
with
in
the
around
colours on it.
if you like.
All the colours on it, see the overview would have been good.
I don't know. I mean, I think it was a joint consultation project between SWDC and Carterson. And I think consultants did the document and put the document together. So I think the consultants, whoever the consultants were, probably didn't come up with good enough quality maps.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
being better, being a bit more usable, a bit more user friendly.
We need to go. They needed to dig down into to the inner links. Anyway, so in preparation to have a communication meeting before we go there, what we do with
Yeah, when is the presentation?
we don't know. There's no.
Oh,
I'm not
sorry,
there.
just saying. Right. We don't know.
But we've put through submissions and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Any other comment on that?
I suppose the question now, we could say we will present at that speed review meeting.
We've already
Right now.
said that in the submission.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to clarify as well. Has anyone spoken to the Martinborough Wine Association, like the group that has all of the vineyards down there? I know Dave Shepherd has spoken to the Martinborough Community Board on behalf of them in the past. Vanessa and Clive Payton have both talked about this as well. And that was about their issues with the speed on Hoangaroa and Puruatanga, and I understand what you're saying, Karen, but with regards to not feeling there's a lot of traffic on there, but the reality is during the day, and especially once it's summer, the amount of near misses that people see.
I'm very concerned about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it is
no.
only-
So I just wanted to make sure that with the with that road, I think we need they need to look at the speed on it. They definitely need to look at reducing the speed there.
It's an
Well, it
excellent
was,
to help.
that road was specifically mentioned.
It's a anomaly as a road. It's got some problems with it.
Yeah.
Unofficially, I've spoken to a number of the winery people along there.
Mhm.
They're very concerned as a business transfers thoroughfare. They don't want to be too restrictive on it, but they understand there's other things that need to happen. So we have to look at, perhaps this is where the review needs to open its eyes to the options that are available, because there may be certain times when the speed is such, and that's to protect the cyclists coming through. Otherwise, it's an open business day. So the only thing you've got to be concerned about with that is making sure that the
People
friendship.
speed down there every single day. Like every single day, people are going at least 100 and 110 down there.
They can do 100,
And
but
that's
there's
like
100K
the,
down there.
the workers and stuff. So I mean, it's I mean, I think we just need to really support, I guess, a reduction. A reduction in speed too. What were they looking at? 60K?
So Pip, in the document for Hungaroa Road, it says that existing speed limit there is 70K, and the proposed speed limit was reducing it down to 60. And then Puruatanga,
70 till Regent Street, and then it's 100.
yeah, and then
then-
Puruatanga Road,
Yeah.
they're talking Puruatanga Road from Cambridge Road to 35 metres northeast of Regent Street. The current speed limit is 70. They're proposing to drop it to 60. And then Puruatanga Road from adjacent to Regent Street to Todd's Road is 100K, and they're proposing to drop it to 60. So that's all in the document.
So
Yeah.
the whole road, I think, all the way down to TK needs to be 60.
Well, look, I think, can I just make a suggestion that what you have to look at in pointing to the businesses notes is what is the time distance between travelling at 100K and travelling at 60K, and what that means to people in reality, because it doesn't mean a lot in terms of what they're doing. And that's it. I know it means people can get a bit upset about being restricted, but maybe there is another balance and adjustment and compromise we can make. And maybe we can do something in timing of business days and not.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they're opening a very large centre down at the end of that road, it does concern me that they're only looking at to Todd's Road at 60. So if you turn right, you've got Moy Hall just there, and then but if you turn right, then what? You can go 100 like that. It needs to be that whole stretch just needs to be 60.
So, I mean, the real and present danger is when people are drunk on multi-seat bikes. That is really dangerous.
Yeah, but then you can't. I absolutely. I know from working there every single day. I know, but it's hard to say. And it's not necessarily even when they're drunk.
No.
Because people aren't aware, because they might have their music going, they might have earbuds in. They're not listening to see when vehicles.
No, okay, but it's
And they might have never ridden a bike before.
It's a mix of push bikes and cars, really. It's the most dangerous thing.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway.
It's the fact they're two very different vehicles,
It'll be interesting to see what the review committee comes up with as a statement, what they want to do.
Yeah.
And it's been talked about for years.
Yeah.
And it is an accident waiting to happen. I don't want it on my conscience. The community board talked, and they never did anything. Nothing.
Well, now's our opportunity. Like as the community board, now is our opportunity to actually say make that whole stretch from there all the way to Princess Street. Make that whole stretch for all of Puruatanga Road and then through Hoangaroa Road, all of that stretch 60Ks.
Okay.
Oh,
All right, so look, we'll do that in the review and we'll see what comes out of that. But I think we've got some good ideas, and maybe in the next few weeks, we will formulate any further firm comments. I'm happy to be the recipient. If you've got comments, put them in an email to me. I'm happy to be the recipient and combine those and present them at some stage that everybody can have a look at.
Cool.
All right?
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, so moving on from that, Angela, the discussion about the emergency response program.
Yeah.
We've got a separate item at the end, so I'll leave it for that
Yeah,
discussion.
maybe it's a members report. Yeah, cool.
Okay, and then just an update on the CCTV. This has taken longer than Ben Hur took to get out of whatever he was doing. I've now got a full list of people that I've sent notes out to that we're planning a meeting. I've just got to put the final planning. We're waiting for the lady from Carlton who's been overseas. And the police are waiting to come back, but there's been some advances in it. Aidan has kindly suggested he'll be the council representative in the meeting. So now it's just a matter of me putting a date on the map and saying this is when we're going to have it. And hopefully we can get most people on. Now, the committee board are welcome to come along to the meeting. But so far we've invited the police.
Who did you speak to?
Julie Flower was one that she's the head up, and then there was the first name, I can't remember his name, O'Connell.
So these, so Joe Kelly is constable, and she used to be working in the South Wairarapa and covering Martinborough, but then her position was disestablished and they were all sucked up to Mars about 2 years ago. So she is back on deck working out of Martinborough at the moment, wants to be involved and start liaising. So I'll pass an email address.
Okay, because I'll get that here, because the other one I've got to get to is the community survey board, the
Community patrol.
community patrol.
I've got Claire's email.
I have, if somebody can give me that, because I just make sure they get invited, because I've got
I'll send it.
everybody, there's a couple of local businesses, there's a couple of commercial interests who have said they don't want to be there unless, I said it's probably useful for you to be there to talk about technology to us. And then there's the local guy, Stevenson, who's running the system. Tony says the police have updated their receptacle system, so it's you can go straight online to police. So we've just got to go through that process and see what the recommendations come out.
When is the meeting, Storm?
Good question.
Thanks.
I'm trying to find a date. Trying to find a date and time for people to get through. Some people have said happy in the morning, happy in the afternoon. So I'm just going to have to stick a time and date in the calendar and say who can make it. Okay. I don't expect it to be a particularly long meeting, maybe 1 to 2 hours max, but I'll just send an agenda out once I've got the time and it ready to go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that concludes the chair's report. We've already voted on exceeding that. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we've done Martin's presentation. So there's
Just going on to street flags.
street flags. Now, I'm a bit confused about,
This was one we'd already agreed to.
I thought we had as well.
We'd already agreed to.
yeah.
Yeah, we'd already let you.
Already,
It's, he hasn't changed the flag and
Yeah.
he's on previous flag, so we didn't need to vote on it.
It has
And
changed.
it came through last month.
Yeah.
It came through the last meeting.
Yeah, I thought it had been done. That's why I put it in there, but I thought, well, maybe. But we've done, so do we need to move anything on that or we're just?
No, if you've already approved it, then.
We should have swapped it for the jazz one.
I think possibly did we miss out the point of sending them the confirmation? Perhaps, but
No,
because
I'd already sent it. I'd already contacted Brendan and told him it was fine. And then I saw this on the agenda and I thought that's weird because they've already been notified.
Yeah.
And I
and he
thought they were
sent it on the
notified.
5th of July. It's like, oh, so maybe he didn't believe you, Angela. No, I'm only kidding.
Okay, so we'll take that as being complete.
Yeah, it was fine.
Won't need to move on, make any commentary on that.
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the flag bit done. Now, the next one on the list is the proposed private road. But I've just received information today that suggests we may not be the people to discuss this.
What then it's,
That might be
It's a
great time.
Greytown's
Town.
jurisdiction.
oh, so it does say in Martinborough, doesn't
I
it?
know it says in Martinborough, and I don't know why would
So
that.
who would know?
Who would?
But I'm looking at that address and looking at the aerial photo on page 17.
Yep.
It is no doubt that is on between Bidwell's Cutting Road and the Ruramahanga River. Now, in council documentation, it says that the Greytown ward runs along the top of the Tauranga Ranges, east down the Waihini River to where it meets the Ruramahanga River, south along the Ruramahanga River to the Martinborough Bridge, and then west along State Highway 53 to the Tuharaniko Bridge. So that ends by the look of it, so that is nowhere near the Martinborough
I
ward.
would suggest it's outside our ward.
So, and also, I think, a member of the Greytown Community Board is probably a neighbour of this property. So, and I know that in the previous triennium, the Martinborough Community Board, had a paper coming to it, to name, some roads down at Wharikahau, and it turned out that all the discussion that we had about that was null and void because that was in fact under the Featherstone Community Board's responsibility.
Greytown.
Okay, so we've got a,
I think that probably just needs to be
issue.
bounced back
I
to.
think what we'd say to this one, we won't vote till we discuss this. We will subject it to a further review.
Yeah, I can send this report back to.
So we'll just completely ignore that, and unless they come back to us with.
Not really our jurisdiction.
Oh, no, it can just be forwarded to we recommend for it to be forwarded to the Greytown Community Board for discussion and decision.
That's a shame because it was
So
last.
I think that's got to go back to the council executive to make that choice, because somebody's made the wrong choice.
Well, we can't do it. It's not in the Martinborough Board.
So
So
what we're doing is pushing it back to the council,
They can give it
to
a
say they've got to make a decision on where it actually sits.
Yeah.
And we think it sits in Greytown, and until we get told different, we're going to keep to that.
It's not up to us to give it to Greytown, it's up to the.
no.
Council-
But here at the meeting, we can forward it to
No,
Greytown.
No,
But I mean, if you don't want to do that and you want to send it back to council first, that's good.
Well, I think if Greytown get it from us, they'll be asking the same question perhaps.
Yeah, my gosh, yes.
And so the best thing to do is go back to the council, get them to define it and send it off to the proper place.
And to send it with a map that shows where the wards start and end.
Yeah. I think if you can capture what Aidan gave us today, is that possible?
I'll just send you the link.
If you can capture that, that may help the council figure it out. Okay,
Right, so that's one less job for us.
okay, so what are we doing next? Just as an interest, do you have any comment on the names?
Well, I noticed it said the Maori Standing Committee said they couldn't use the word Ruramahanga.
Ruramahanga, yeah. Do you know why that would be?
That's because it's a river.
But you know why they can't use the word Ruramahanga?
Do you know why the
No,
Maori
it's
Standing?
because it's tapu and belongs to the mana whenua,
Fair enough, that's fine.
more than likely.
Good.
More than likely, okay, fair enough.
Can't use it.
Okay.
Zero mark.
So next thing, I'm a bit confused about this too, Katie, because, no, we're right with this one. We're right with this one, I think. We need to receive the income and expenditure. Can I have a mover for that, please?
For the committee.
Second it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So do we have any
25.
issues arising from that view?
Only the, well, I got so small, I have to bring a magnifying glass to read it.
You're
It
right.
is really small, I agree.
It's got littler, hasn't it?
Little speck
My
savers.
question is with regards to the beautification fund. I just,
The
I'm
beautification,
wondering, so normally we have
Where is it?
funding, beautification fund, and we have those two split, and what we put towards beautification and what we
Not
put
there.
towards the community grants, and I can't see anything that says
Not
how
there.
got in the beautification fund and.
No.
wasn't it renamed? Isn't it the Community Development Fund? It's now called the.
On the next page, Pip.
So is it just all one thing now?
So there's grants and then there's the Community Development Fund. So I think the purpose of that was just to expand it a little bit broader than just beautification. Featherston Community Board requested the name change so that it could be used for projects in the community, I think, that would support community development, not just, you know, painting and trees. I think they were thinking a little bit broader, but the board can still choose to use those funds how they wish, but it's just on the second page of
They
that.
renamed.
So that is the,
It's 11.5 grand in it.
Martin, yeah, Community Development Fund for the period ended 31st of May.
It's just got a new name.
So when we're talking about some of that, maybe to the tree committee?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, there's a couple of things we have to review in there. We need to receive the report. Are we happy to do so? But there's also a question there to set the dates for the Payne Farm funding round.
Oh, it's
I think we might be a little premature on that.
yeah, absolutely. They put that through in every single one of our meetings, which we've keep saying we'll do once we get all of the information for Payne Farm.
Yeah, cool.
That way the council is kind of like it seems that the council officers don't understand that we actually need to know everything about what we have with Payne Farm and where it sits prior to be able to saying that we can give money out from it. So there's no point in putting that as a request until the job is done of giving us the full information.
That was my understanding, so that I'm going to stick with it. Do you need to make a note of that? Does
I
it-
can unable to.
So we need to get that resolution completed before we can contemplate what we're going to do with funding.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can I just clarify something as well with regards to that report? And again, it comes down to the funding. It's just that, so it's saying that we've got 11.5 in income that's still available, but that's with, and then we had the additional amount carried forward, is that right?
If you look at the bottom, it's got total funds 20.
Yeah, so we are sitting at 23.9, right?
Just bear in mind, that's at the end of May. It's not current. So we don't. Is
Well, did we give anything out in June? Did we?
But I just want to check because we did give some funds to Matariki and
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like that. That's not
760
there.
$60 to Charlotte.
760 to Charlotte.
something we gave away.
Yeah, so we've still got,
23,000.
So we should have 23,000, but we don't know that for sure.
don't we?
But well, this is not the current statement.
Oh, so none of these statements are any use to us, are they?
For the purpose of this exercise, the data in here is not relevant.
Well, that's a surprise, isn't it? Do you like my sarcasm?
But for the information and for the time frame that they have, it is correct, but there's nothing new on there from
760, isn't it?
the previous meeting, so there's not really anything we can comment on, is there?
Need to get the,
Yep, I've got that.
okay.
Wrote the paper.
So look, what I'm going to ask for is a nominator, a mover and a seconder on receiving this report for no action.
Sorry,
But we just done it.
I thought we'd done that.
Whether we agreed to receive it.
Did you have a mover and a seconder already?
Yes, we did.
Sorry, I missed that.
I think it was Pip
Pip and
Yeah.
Aidan.
and Aidan.
Okay, yep,
Okay, so we'll put that aside.
yep.
I also think the same applies to the Appendix 1 statement on Payne Farm. So now, the next one is item 9.4, which is a financial assistance report. Can I have a nominator to receive that report?
Yep.
Angela, a seconder?
Yep.
Pip, thank you. So moving right along. Do we have any discussion around these items in the report?
We were just talking about.
I just have one query, and that is with regards to the tree group. Are they asking for us to hold the funds? Like I can't quite understand what it is that, like, do they not have an account or what was the story with the tree group? Because I'm a bit confused there because I thought that they were going to.
Karen,
Sorry?
perhaps asking you some questions.
Well,
You've got no bank account. Isn't that
I have-
said?
I understood that in the application form that Martin filled in, he would have put where he wanted it paid. I don't know.
They said there's no bank account.
Is that what
But
it
he's
says?
put there that, so, I mean, he did, but he just, what he put in there was that he wanted it to be paid, but to the community board or to the, hang on, let me just find it.
There as well.
You can't pay it to us.
It's
No.
an item, yeah, it was an action point last time at 168 to request clarification whether council can hold and distribute donated funds to the tree group.
But we got a no for that. They
So
can't.
we
It's a-
can't, we
yeah.
can get some money, but we can't give it, we
Cannot hold funds.
So do the tree group have a bank account? Or do they have
No, but-
somebody's nominated
Can't
account?
we just open bank accounts like that now, can you?
Could you do it by the,
Could somebody open it?
biodiversity?
Yes, but can't you, if, I don't know that you, in the old days, you could open a bank account and then.
You still can,
You still can do that
You can go down, I can go and open an account separately for my,
and call it anything you like.
or what I like.
Well, you could call it Karen, you could call it your name with a bracket around it, say Martinborough Tree Group or something
Tree
like
Group.
that. So,
I mean,
you
I've
know.
already got several different accounts with my bank that have different
Oh, no,
names.
no, no. I'm
But
just,
no,
that's
so
an
whose
example.
bank
I'm
is
not
it?
telling you
Whose
you
bank
have to
is it
do
with?
that.
Whose bank is it with?
It could be with your bank.
So, but you can just open another account and
It depends on which bank you bank with.
to be an incorporated society or something like that.
No, because it's not that, because it's got no actual status, the group, is it?
Can the council pay it straight to the tree, to the nursery?
Well,
So we're not holding the money, we pay it straight to the nursery.
we could, that's the
Is
other.
that another way of doing it?
Potentially.
Once we've
If
decided.
you
getting it.
just want to approve the money, I'm sure the finance team can work with the tree
Yeah,
group
yeah,
and
sure.
sort out a way
Yeah.
to
Okay.
distribute.
That's
the
probably the safest way,
Yeah.
is to have the money paid directly to the
To the nursery,
nursery.
yeah, and then no, you don't get.
It wasn't all to be to the one nursery.
No, that's all right.
But you can tell us,
Yeah, yes,
I think it's just 3 different suppliers.
and I like the idea what people saying to including the other Marai, the other nursery.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we will look into that.
Yeah, so I mean, we could put the 1,000 towards the Paitumoke plant purchase and then just hold on the other, on the other 1,000 while they, because there's a couple, yeah.
Norfolk Road, he's got Norfolk Road. And-
Yeah, I don't know, is this what we do? Is this what we do? I don't know.
so Karen,
Agree then,
can you just clarify the 3-4 groups that we're going to pay
Because
money to?
it's just that it says that the funders is the Martinborough Tree Group will collect donations from members and others in the community, but where will that money go? Because there has to be an account. So
Don't
if
get
there's an
upset
account
about it.
somewhere, then
Don't
that's
get-
where we should be putting the
I'm
money.
not-
Oh, I see, yeah, I see. what
Yeah,
you're
well,
saying,
we
but
will,
donations coming towards it.
obviously have to have an account for,
Unless you could ask the biodiversity group to be a subgroup. of that. They've got an account.
Look, it sounds like we need to do a couple of bits of
Well, let's-
clarification.
Agree, I suppose we're agreeing to the money first.
Agree to the money, I think, just,
If we-
so we agree to pay the money.
Yeah.
We just need to define the process that we're going to use,
who it's going to be paid to. and all
who's
that.
going to be paid to.
Okay, I'll.
So you've got a very good point, Pip, about future donations, where they go to.
Yeah, so it should have a.
And help this
should have-
growth.
I think I'll see if I can just open a bank account in the name of the Martinborough Tree Group.
Well, you could, but you'd do it under your name and your account, and you just call it Martinborough Tree Group.
That's what I said before. Pip said, no, we can't do that. So I don't know.
No, I didn't.
Can do.
No, I thought you said not, because
No,
mean,
so
I
under
thought-
your name, that's what I was saying, under your name, and then you could say.
The tree group.
I
Tree
thought you said no, I couldn't.
No,
I
you
said
can do
exactly
that.
I've
what
already got
Sandra
3
said.
accounts, so I start another one. That's called the Tree Group.
That's all you have to do, and go to your bank and do that, and they
Yeah, I can do it online. It's
They
fine.
could be
No.
receiving donations, but we can organise the process that if you give us the names and denominations, we can have them paid directly by finance to those people.
Yes, I think 2 of them are in that category. The other one's a bit vaguer. It's
You need to
cardboard surrounds or something.
You need to-
We get
unveil the
And I
vagaries.
would like as well, I don't want to give the full 2,000 because I would like them to look at Kohinui as well. And they, you know, and it may be that they might be able to donate $500 worth of natives as well. And that way, because they are in the Martinborough ward as a nursery.
So how do you spell that? Kuanui? Whereabouts is it?
Kohinui, yeah, it's so that
Kohinui.
Pirinoa.
Another one.
Or Tuarangi, yeah.
Okay, I'll pass that on.
Okay, so
Yeah, please. I mean, I'm happy to, approach their board, or, you know, like, I'm pretty sure their chair is Anne Furman, who lives in Malcolm Street, so I mean, not
We
Malcolm.
We certainly don't want to offend anybody or anything. Yeah.
so are we clear with what we're doing?
I am going to supply the details for people who can be paid direct. And also I'll set up another bank account for miscellaneous, you know, for other things. If we, you know, we can't always pay directly when you need money, and to also receive donations.
Okay,
Is that right?
Understand we're spending 1,000 or donating 1,000 at the moment. The second 1,000 needs some further activity.
Fantastic.
So we're definitely paying for the plant purchase to Pai Mokai.
Yeah.
And then we just, and then I'll just feel out, because I mean, even if, because what they might be able to give you for $500 may actually be the same as what you'd be paying for the other 1,000.
Absolutely.
You know, you never know.
All of this, I just don't want it to drag on or take too long, because
So you've got 6 weeks.
we're all ready to get on with this. So, you know.
Yes, but at the same time, there's nowhere to put the money. So it's like, you know,
It's good.
we're not doing our. I mean, there still needs to be just this little bit, I think, of a step to be done.
I don't think I was even supposed to be involved in this conversation at all.
You like to talk.
You are. You totally are. Look, that's why I said, Karen, you totally need to be in this conversation.
Yeah, cool.
Okay,
All right.
so the only question there is sort of what Martinborough women's football team.
I just need a mover and a seconder for that. Just to clarify, the resolution would be agree to fund $1,000 to the Martinborough Tree Group to support the purchase of trees from Potamokai Tree Nursery to support planting projects in the ward.
Yep.
Funded through the Community Development Fund.
Fantastic.
And then a mover.
Move it.
Yeah.
Angela,
Yeah.
second it. Aidan?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw your hand up.
Just scratch your nose. Yeah.
So how would that be administered in the meantime, so that you would actually, well, I'll supply you the.
I'll just work with you, and we'll just sort out how the payment goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Fantastic.
So then for the women's football team. Have we sent an application for this one?
There is one
There
here.
is one on there. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yep, it's there.
Yeah, you got to speak to it. Well,
But this
Probably.
fits under paid
Probably
farm
the
anyway,
go-to.
doesn't it? Because it's asking for their training kit. We could pay $1,000 towards that.
They're only asking for 500, aren't they?
1,500.
Oh, is it?
Oh, was it?
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry.
I don't see this. I don't see this at all. Where am I looking?
It's at the back of Martin's.
It's on the
paperwork.
back of something, wasn't it?
It's got Martin's one, and then it's behind that.
Oh, I saw it somewhere.
It's all typed up.
Yeah, well, oh, go on, you've got it there. I've got
Yeah,
it
but
here.
there's no amount of what they were asking for, so
There
I'm
is
just
somewhere, I think I saw it somewhere.
You're right, they asked for it. There was a big
Oh,
pile there.
what?
No, there was
that's-
there, look. What's this?
no, there's no amount on there. See, amount of grants sought in this application.
Oh, I see. So they haven't put an amount in there.
Oh, no, they haven't. Sorry, you're quite right.
Oh, so yeah.
So,
Cool.
isn't that the most?
$500 here.
Yeah.
Where have you got 500? I thought I'd read
So
500.
on the application form,
No, that's the other funding they've already received.
Other funding, that's why it's very confusing, isn't it?
Yeah.
all right.
Seeking further sponsorship and it looks as though they think they're applying for 500, does it?
No.
No,
There's kind of, oh no, those two add up to 500.
they need 12 and a half grand.
Yeah, but that heading says seeking further sponsorships. Yeah, I don't know.
I understand that, but it looks, those two add to that, so then they haven't put anything, they haven't said what they're
Amount of
asking
grant
for.
spot, yeah, they haven't put amount in the
I
top.
think this form is quite confusing actually, right? But why would they apply for money and they haven't said how much it is?
Could we just reach out to them and,
Yeah,
or
we-
will it have to come back, Katie?
Well, it says here in recommendations on
Yeah.
9.4,
Yep.
CB financial assistance report.
But it's a 500 somewhere is what I saw.
So page 1 of 3, under recommendations, recommendation 3, it says consider the application for Martinborough.
Page 26.
Yeah, it says 500.
It says $500 on there. So is that just a mistake, you think?
Oh, I
You think someone's read that amount wrong?
Yeah, like it's there instead of there.
That's where I saw the $500 when I read it. It was on there. So they're not asking for that.
Seeking further sponsorship, and then it says like there instead of down below.
That's what, yeah, it's like. what-
I think it might have just been an application.
I think
error.
confusing.
Yeah, yeah,
they should put that. But to make it even more confusing, those two.
This is in the grant.
Yeah, just as Winston.
So it's,
So that's what we thought.
So what are they asking for?
Looks like it's $500.
It's not
Okay.
500.
One of the recommendation.
Oh.
So on the page, financial assistance report, under the recommendations, recommendation 3,
Yes,
so the application form,
Yeah.
for 500.
Martinborough Women Football Team, $500 to support the formation.
But that's not what they're asking for, the grant.
No, I think someone's just read it wrong off the thing.
This has come off this, I think, Aidan, which is quite confusing.
Yeah, because if you see that.
The actual application form.
They need, what is it, 12,500? Not that they're asking for 12,500, they've left it
We
blank.
just need to reach out to them and confirm what they're asking for, don't we?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
because it actually fits under the Payne Farm for their training kit, which is $1,500. Like, so because they're starting from scratch. Like, you know, they don't have any previous uniform or secondhand anything.
Fine,
But
but
yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to look at that.
What about just passing or passing a resolution to gain further information from the applicant?
On the amount.
And the community board, then discuss the funding application.
Is that going to inhibit what they're
Later
trying to do when they're trying to do it?
The
They're
timing,
probably wanting to do it.
whether they
as
have to
quick
wait
as
for the
possible.
next meeting or something.
Yeah.
That's what's.
Got anything else in there in the information? Despite anything else it says.
They are in a rush. I think this is for.
Is this for next season?
Is it?
Well, this season's already well underway, so it can't be this season.
Oh, if it's for next season, perhaps we have got time to.
Well, next season, we don't have a problem.
Yeah,
Just I don't see next.
because it's the former women's football team, which there isn't one at the moment
Oh,
anyway.
okay.
There's only 4 in the whole Wide Upper, I think, or yeah.
It's not much of a tournament. Yeah,
So what we're going to do is formulate a response to go back to them for clarification on their application amount.
Yes, because they have not filled
Because they
that.
haven't completed that correctly.
right.
What's unclear to us what they're.
Japan's payment.
In fact, there's a phone number here, wasn't someone who gave a
Phone ring.
phone call?
Yeah.
And what about it during the meeting for 5 minutes?
Who's gonna ring them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Can we just adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes?
You ring them,
Yep.
Storm.
Right, you got the number?
That be Cunning Plan?
Yeah. Gosh. That's.
We're talking to Michelle, are we?